Hello, and welcome to Maid's MILF Challenge! Today, we'll be discussing a special challenge I set out for myself in Genshin Impact Spiral Abyss. But first, let's start with some background. Spiral Abyss is some of Genshin's more difficult content, but it is the only permanent difficult content that we have available to us at the moment. This challenge, lovingly dubbed the MILF Challenge, started because of some in-game restrictions that I had already placed on myself. I only play using the girl characters, a feature I carried over from other gacha games that I enjoy. Of course, even with only using female characters, there is still a wide range of strategies to choose from. And with some of the more powerful characters at my disposal, such as Xiangling, Sucrose, or Ganyu, certain challenges became somewhat trivial. The MILF challenge involves restricting myself to only using tall girl characters, with the sometimes referred to as MILF body type. Now, the latter half of the Spiral Abyss requires 2 teams of 4 to attempt, requiring a total of 8 characters. This challenge was done in game version 2.2, and as of this version, there are only 8 MILF characters released. Now, I did attempt this challenge once before, but that time I had less than stellar results. Stop shooting me! Stop shooting me, you fuck! Damn it. Oh, I was so close too! I'm so angry! Stop hitting me! Fuck. It's fucking really hard to not get hit at all. Ugh, this sucks ass. Oh my god! Fuck! Oh, I'm so close! I'm so close, but no! What the hell? I hate— No! 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 Damn it! Stop it! For fuck's sake! For fuck's sake! Oh my god, I hate this! Ugh! I'm so angry. The previous time I attempted this, I tried to make do with 2 shielders, Ningguang and Beidou, and no healers on one of my teams, which is part of what led to my downfall. As of version 2.2, there is only one dedicated healer out of all 8 MILFs released, and that would be Jean, acting Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius. This time, I realized that I could equip Ningguang with the prototype Amber weapon, giving her access to a minimal but crucial amount of healing. Healing provided by the prototype Amber scales with HP, so I put equipment on her that maximized the amount of HP she had, thus maximizing the amount she could heal. And just for good measure, I also maximized Beidou's HP, thereby giving the shields she provided a much needed boost. As you've probably noticed by now, I've started off this video at floor 11. In my opinion, floors 9 and 10 are trivial, given that all of my characters and all of my equipment are at maximum level, and the enemies on floors 9 and 10 are much lower level, meaning that I could clear it quite easily as long as I had some semblance of strategy and damage. To save on time, I've opted not to show floors 9 and 10 in their entirety. If you're interested in seeing them, please check out the VODs from my streams on this channel. All of my attempts and failures are documented there. So here we have floor 11, chamber 1. This is largely just a damage check, namely do you have enough damage to burn through waves of multiple enemies from both halves within 10 minutes. The only special thing to note here is that I'm holding onto my elemental bursts, though I typically prefer the more informal term ult, so that I can use them on the first half of floor 11 chamber 2. The last time I attempted this challenge, I had trouble with the Futui skirmishers on floor 11 chamber 2's first half. Because I'm only using MILF characters, there are many elements that I do not have access to, meaning I cannot break through some of the Futui skirmishers' shields, making them much harder to kill once they activate those shields. In this case, there are no Pyro user MILF characters, meaning I cannot break through the Cryogunner Legionnaire's shields once they have them up. My goal in holding my ults, then, was to burst down the Fatui skirmishers as quickly as possible so that I would not have to deal with the slow and HP draining process of taking down the skirmishers through their shields. As for the second half of 11-2, there really is not much to say. Raiden Shogun makes for a very powerful damage dealer when min-maxed, and stacking everyone else's ults before using hers gives her ult very high burst and damage potential. Chamber 3 of Floor 11 makes you face off against a boss enemy in each of the two halves, the Hydro Hypostasis in Part 1 and the Pyro Hypostasis in Part 2. For the most part, you just need to know how to fight these two enemies, such as knowledge of when to dodge and when to attack, and the intricate mechanics of the two. The Hydro Hypostasis in Part 1, knowing that you need to destroy the droplet enemies that it summons with elemental reactions is a big part of fighting this boss. As part of its normal attacks, the Hypostasis will summon two droplet enemies, one that explodes when it gets near you, and one that fires healing bubbles at the boss. Now, you can be cheeky, as picking up the healing bubbles will heal your party instead and consume it, preventing the boss from healing. However, it is definitely best to destroy the droplet once you are fully healed, as it can heal large chunks of the boss's HP if left unattended. Now at the end here, I did make a small mechanical error that caused me to miss the one cycle for the Hydro Hypostasis and made me have to sit through another series of attacks. I should have used Rosaria's elemental skill first, as it has the lowest cooldown of anybody's at 6 seconds, and it is also capable of destroying a droplet by itself. In the second half of 11-3, we have the Pyro Hypostasis. It's important to know that you need elemental reactions to break its initial Pyro shield and prevent that shield from reforming. This is especially important as the Hypostasis will heal itself while its Pyro shield is active. This boss was critical in determining the assignment of my two teams to the two halves. I wanted to put Raiden Shogun's team up against the Pyro Hypostasis so that I could burst it down with her high damage potential and not have to deal with breaking through the boss's Pyro shield more than once. There is one attack that the boss did not use in my playthrough that is very dangerous to play against. This attack involves the boss forming a ball of fire and charging itself up briefly before exploding and damaging a very wide area around it. Depending on the boss's positioning and your own positioning, it can be hard or sometimes impossible to move to an area not covered by the explosion before the attack hits. In cases like that, you will need to use the invincibility frames granted from casting a character's ult in order to avoid the damage, as the attack can one-shot characters from full HP. The initial shield break was slow, as I have to use electro reactions to break it, but having Lisa and her access to electro attacks with no cooldown helps immensely. Pyro's shield is weakest to Hydro, but unfortunately that is not an element that MILFs have access to. We now move on to the final floor, floor 12. Chamber 1 is yet again another damage check, seeing if you have the damage to kill several waves of enemies in both halves within the 10-minute time limit. It can be a bit tricky, as staying alive requires you to keep track of incoming attacks from all enemies on the field, which gets much harder when there are 3 or more enemies. This is further compounded in the first half by the Fatui agent's invisibility technique, which can make it even harder to keep track of them. In Chamber 2, the first half contains another boss enemy, the Magu Kenki. Fighting the boss successfully once again requires knowledge of the boss's attack patterns and knowing when to dodge and when to attack. With enough practice, dodging the boss's attacks become much easier. In addition, using an ult to give yourself invincibility frames during the casting of the ult can help you dodge attacks at the last moment. second half of Chamber 2 was also relatively trivial thanks to Raiden Shogun's insane damage output. Avoiding the Cryo-Sisson Mage's Cryo Cage Aura attack and the Mirror Maiden's Glass Cage and Mist Bubble attacks will help speed up the completion of this section. The first half of Floor 12, Chamber 3 was where I got stuck last time I attempted this challenge. The Ruin Destroyers combined with the Ruin Guard make for tough enemies, since it is very difficult to completely dodge all of their attacks. I pretty much just went slow and played it safe, dealing damage when I could but making sure to retreat and shield or heal when my HP got low. It was a bit of a gamble since it took more than half of the 10-minute time limit allotted for both halves of Chamber 3. it's not over yet. It's far from over. Luckily, Raiden Shogun's damage output once again saved the day, allowing me to burst down the same amount of enemies in the second half, but in about half as much time as it took for the first half. Once again, the main strategy for using Raiden Shogun's ult is to use everyone else's ult at least once before using hers. Using Kujo's Sarah's ult right before Raiden Shogun's also allows extra damage support from Sarah's abilities. Oh my god, I'm gonna get it! I'm gonna make it! Holy shit! Yes! I beat it! Oh, I'm so... I didn't think I could do it! Hell yeah! Oh my god, 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 oh my god! Oh my god! I didn't think I could do it!